There's a lot more to this program than what you see on paper. I definitely learned a lot more than I expected.
Welcome. I'm here with Eddy to talk about his experience in the Cloud Code Academy Developer Kickstart program. He is somebody who has gone through a lot in his Salesforce journey and even a tech journey, coming through and learning Salesforce development and going through a lot of different things. And we'll jump into a lot of that. But Eddy, I would love for you to just introduce yourself, tell me about yourself and your experience and kind of your path to Salesforce.
Sure, I am a Cloud Code alum. Currently, I am working as a Salesforce developer at a Salesforce consulting partner. It's been a long journey. I started my Salesforce journey about 2 years ago. 1 year, I've been just learning the Salesforce admin stuff, and then I joined Cloud Code, and then I kind of put myself in the bootcamp style lifestyle, made some personal sacrifices for more time so that I can learn Salesforce development and make this career happen. Yeah, and now I'm here, just gonna keep learning and trying to avoid complacency, So.
Yeah, I mean, you made it, right? It was a long journey, right? You mentioned 2 years. It can take a bit of time to break in, especially if you either don't have somebody that is giving you a referral and things like that. But I think, at least from like my perspective, I've been working with you for a little while now. Like, you definitely deserve like a pat on the back and take a breath of fresh air because you've landed the job and you are now working as a full-time developer, which is really cool. What did it feel like, at least getting this full-time role? Were you excited? Were you kind of scared? Did you like what was that process for you?
I think there's a little bit sense of relief in a way. I definitely didn't want to jinx myself. Like I was confident that I was going to get the job, but at the same time, I was like, okay, gotta still do my best. It's not over yet. I still didn't actually get the job yet. I kind of like treat it like a game or like sports, like it's not over until it's over, right? So
For
just,
sure, for sure.
just keep doing the best. It can be hard to celebrate because you work so hard and then you realize how much more you got to keep, working. So that's always been tough for me. Gotta remind myself to celebrate the small wins and things like that.
No, I think that's really important. I struggle with that too. Like, I will meet some sort of goal and then it's always, okay, what is next? What is next? But it's always great to surround yourself with other people. I think I'm good at telling other people that, but for myself, I'm horrible at it. So for you, definitely take some time, celebrate whatever you need to do. Like, people, what do they do? Like, I don't know if you want to buy a Rolex or not, but go out to the bar or something like that. Whatever, you do to just celebrate and be happy, I would recommend you doing that because you have worked hard over these last couple of years going through this journey. I'm curious, when you first started Cloud Code in the Developer Kickstart program, what was your primary goal for like going down the dev route and joining the program?
It's hard to say like if I had one primary goal. Like I definitely knew when I joined that I was going to benefit in many ways. I joined because of the connections, networking, and to learn from senior developers and people who have been there before me. And I just wanted to see what else can I learn that I couldn't by myself. Because I tend to be a lone wolf, like say I can do all this by myself, But I just want to help myself and be like, hey, let me just join this program. To me, it felt like one of those coding boot camps they're way more expensive. So this one, it felt like it was going to give me like the Capstone project, right? An opportunity to work on a team where I get to learn Git and how to collaborate with version control. It felt similar to what I've seen in other coding boot camps. So I felt like it was a good opportunity to join while it's still early and developing. So
Yeah, and your team did an amazing job on the Capstone project, right? You had LWCs, integrations, these triggers, and pretty much everything that we lined out for the requirements. You all nailed it down. So, can you kind of tell people who aren't in the program what the Capstone project is and how it kind of helped shape your ideas, your learning, and potentially even your interviewing as you were going through and working on this project?
I would say the Capstone project is about a month-long project where you kind of put together everything you learned throughout the Cloud Code course. After doing all your homework, going through the live sessions, you're kind of applying everything you learn into one project so that you can see how everything fits together. What I liked about the project is that you get what you put in, right? You can do the best you can and you get more out of it. And it definitely benefited me because this wasn't required in the capstone, but I put in a lot of effort into the LWC that I created for the capstone and presented it. And it turns out in my first technical interview for the sales developer job I have right now, or actually the take-home assignment, I was able to reuse some of the code in the LWC that I wrote for my capstone into my take-home assignment. So I didn't have to spend more time doing research or reinvent the wheel or even possibly not finishing the assignment. And then the process of rehearsing for the capstone presentation, I kind of did that in a similar fashion for my technical interview, the way I prepared it. And that helped me land a job for my first ever technical interview. I truly believe that this capstone project and the whole Cloudco experience helped me out a lot. So
Yeah, and I think it all really comes back together. And I think it's hard for some people, especially when you're in the beginning, where you're learning like these little bits and pieces. Okay, let's concatenate strings together. Let's add numbers together. And then as you move along through the 16-week process, you start to see the whole bigger picture of how to build software on Salesforce and these business automations. And the Capstone project really puts that all together in one kind of cohesive package. We put you under a time crunch, of course, just to add a little pressure there, but then you present it. So it's building up on all those skills that you are working on throughout the entire program, especially as you start making it through. So once again, like I want to mention, you did an amazing job and really inspired a few other people in the capstone and some of the ideas that you all brought to the table, which is great. And you work on a team, right? And you don't often get that sort of experience, working as a lone wolf, like you mentioned. But getting that team experience can really start to show you the bigger picture on how software development is made, especially on those larger teams. So I think that is great.
yeah, and speaking about working in teams, in my perspective, working solo, you can always kind of do that. You can make your own projects, but working in a team, that's not an opportunity that you really get. So that's why I chose to work on a team and get that experience in the capstone
No,
project. So,
I think that's really smart. I think that's really smart. One of your goals was to start to learn from senior developers. Was that met? How are the instructors for you? Did you learn new things that you didn't really think about or what may have taken you longer when you were learning on your own?
I definitely learned a lot of things that I didn't even expect to learn. We have a Slack workspace, right? Sometimes I would see instructors would post advanced concepts about development that I never even heard of. For example, Jace, he posts things about like the trigger framework, Mitch Soprano framework that I never heard of. You talk about Nebula Logger. Just a lot of things that I can look forward to learning as I advance my career towards senior development and things like that. So
It can really lead you down the rabbit hole too. Like it's just like that one word is, oh, Nebula Logger. I'm like, what is Nebula Logger? Oh, it's a logging framework. What is a logging framework? Why do I need this? Now I need to implement it in every single org that I'm in. It can be super fun. And we really try to add in that element of experience from senior devs, people who have been around for a while and have seen a lot of things into cloud code, right? So we've got MVPs, we've got devs who have worked at ISVs, we've got Golden Hoodie senior devs as well, the instructors who are teaching all of these things. And it's really great to bring a lot of those perspectives because we'll butt heads and maybe we don't agree on everything, but it comes from a place of wanting to learn, teach, and make sure that you all are getting the best experience that you can throughout the program. I think that's really cool. One of the things that comes up pretty often is it worth it? Did you find value from the program, right? Because people will see some things about it, but they can't really make that connection either between the price. So I guess for you, it's kind of like, did you find the value that you were looking for? I know that this is a paid program, but did you get what you needed to out of the program to make it worth you spending money on it?
yes, definitely yes. If someone who's joining, it can be hard to kind of picture like what you get out of it. There's a lot more to this program than what you see on paper, but it also depends on how much you show up, right? Like if you don't show up and put in the work, then you might not get much out of it. But to me, I think the more active you are in the program and the more you don't give up and keep going, the more you get out of it. That's how I look at it.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Speaking of kind of like giving back and putting effort in, you've also started to do some like volunteering one-on-one inside of the program. So helping other members. So that is a thing that we offer is some one-on-one assistance and helping people who are struggling with like their homework assignments or different concepts that they want to review. Has that been helpful for you to be able to like do one-on-ones or contributing in the Slack community that we have?
For sure. One of the things that I didn't realize at first is that when I volunteered to do the one-on-one pair programming, I was just trying to give and share my knowledge and help people out. But I realized that also benefited me in a way because When you teach, you also learn, right? And it also helps me articulate things better. That probably helped me out in my interviews. Probably I don't even realize it, and it did. Depending on the students, most students that I help out with, they're also very giving too. You know, like you help them out, they might help you out, and maybe like you're looking for a job, they try to get you referrals, or just be a cheerleader and be like, hey, I think you're really smart, intelligent. Let me know if there's any way I can help you out, or they might give me like tips for interviewing and things like that. So it seems like it's when you give, you might also get something back. It's like a two-way street in a way. So
I do agree that when you help other people out, especially teaching them, you learn a lot from it. And that's where I originally started with a lot of these YouTube videos where it's I want to teach a concept. Well, first off, somebody asked me to like make something because I didn't know how to do it. And then I just made the video instead of getting on a call with them and then spread it out to the rest of the world. But you'll find out that when you make videos or when you educate and do one-on-ones with other people, you have to know it enough to be able to explain it to somebody else. And there's definitely an additional like thought process learning piece that goes into doing that when you teach and share your knowledge with other people, which is really cool. So, I think you're doing a great job, and everybody that does one-on-ones with you thinks that you are amazing and definitely have those cheerleaders in your corner, and it just makes you better, at presenting, talking through complex problems. And that, like you said, is going to help out when you interview or when you talk with clients and things like that. So another really cool thing, or thing that I like to ask alums that come on here, is what are some of the biggest challenges or biggest concerns that you had either during the program or before you joined? What was something that was holding you up or kind of like got in your way while you were in the program?
but like I said earlier, I kind of treated this like a intense coding boot camp, right? So I didn't want to join being completely unprepared. So I kind of wanted to do some learning on my own, like do Trailhead, whatever I could on my own before joining. Because I didn't want to like join and not keep up with the pacing. Even though it was self-paced, I kind of wanted to keep up with the pacing. So work on my portfolio, did some super badges on Trailhead. As soon as the next cohort showed up, I joined as soon as I can. You remember I snuck in our third cohort. But that was my concern. I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to keep up. And another concern is while joining was that I was also not sure if I was going to learn things that I already know, or I might not learn any new things. But I definitely learned a lot more than I expected since joining. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great to hear. And I think that a lot of people will join, and maybe the first, let's say, 1 to 3 weeks might be review, right? We're
Mhm.
talking about variables and classes and things like that. But after that, we kind of start to take off and really teach you some foundational things that you need to know to learn Salesforce development. So I think that's really important. And also something you mentioned, right? Like trying to keep pace. And we try to cater to a lot of different types of people. We know that people are coming in with different amounts of availability and interests and goals that they want to reach. We have different sections of the program set up so that, okay, you can go through it self-paced if you needed to, right? You can, all the recordings are there for the live sessions that you can review. We continue to do feedback on your assignments that you submit from the instructors or anybody that needs to review them. So all of that you still get even if you're going through the program at your own pace, which is really, I guess, key for those like busy people who think that, okay, I can never learn this because like I just don't have enough time. I don't think that's true. It's putting in that effort, even if it's just 1 or 2 hours a week. You can get through the program. It just takes that time and commitment to get through it.
Yeah, I think the recordings are helpful. Sometimes after attending a live session, I like to rewatch the videos at like 2 times speed just to review and make sure I didn't miss anything. So it's always nice to have that as another option to,
Yeah, I think that's
yeah,
super smart.
yeah.
Kind of rounding out, at least on the final question, what advice would you have for people considering joining the program?
I would say definitely be prepared to work hard and not give up. Definitely do the pre-work. I always tell people to start with Camp Apex. It's a great beginner-friendly resource, more beginner-friendly than Trailhead. I always believe you're better off learning in order progression from easy to hard. Like you can get lost if you jump into the advanced topics and don't have the prerequisite knowledge to the foundation to understand what you're doing if you jump too far ahead. So definitely work your way up from the bottom to the top. That makes it easier for you. And this might be different from everybody, but there's kind of like different ways of learning, right? Some people like to learn the theory first and then practice, but sometimes I just like to like go with practice first, like do things, get things working, and then learn how things work. So That's a different kind of learning. I think that works better. Also because sometimes I lack patience. I don't want to like do too many trial and errors. I just want to get it working and then reverse engineer like the code and see how and why things work. So
Yeah, I'm like you. I will just start coding, coding, coding. And then after it's working, I'm like, okay, let me read this again and start to figure it out and how it works. And it's just how different people learn. Some people do like to get that theory first and then actually start coding. And it's however it works for you is going to work out. So yeah, Eddie, this is great talking with you. And I'm so happy that you've landed a job, you're working in tech, even in this amount of time. It was 2 years, right? And you were learning throughout that whole period. But I mean, at least in cloud code, I don't know how long you've been in cloud code now, but it's probably definitely less than the 2 years time frame. But you did the 4 months of the program and then studied really hard. Did you grab PD1 in that time frame as well, or did you already have it? I forgot that one.
for me, it was capstone first and then PD1.
Yeah, so even still, like that's something we kind of skipped over, but you passed the platform developer 1 certification as well during the program. So you hit all of these milestones in such a short amount of time when you're really committed to learning development. And I think it's really paying off, and you should take time, celebrate, and I'm really excited for your future and where you go with this stuff.
Yeah, I'll try. I know some folks they take the PD1 first and then capstone, but I did capstone first and then PD1, and I think that made it easier because I got all the hands-on
Nice.
practice. It's easier to learn theory after so much practice. So
For sure.
yeah.
I agree. Any final shout outs that you have? It could be to literally anybody. It could be to people in the cohort. It could be to your mom. It could be to your cats. So it's really your time. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sure. First, I want to thank my family. They probably are surprised or they hear this because I don't ever say anything nice to them. Since I started my sales journey, some of my personal sacrifices, including like cutting down my social life and just becoming a hermit and just working hard. So I think I'm slowly getting to the point where I hope I have more free time and then do some more celebrations and get back to some of the hobbies that I've been cutting out. So I want to thank you for all your help. You definitely helped me out a lot more than I expect I would get help from. Chase always posts great stuff on Slack every once in a while. And Kayla, one of the first things she said to our cohort, cohort 3, was that you want to be a developer, you can just go straight forward. You don't have to set up an admin first and then become a developer. I think that motivated me to keep going on this developer path because when I first joined Salesforce, I thought you had to go admin first and then work a few years and then developer. I didn't know you can go straight in, but then I started seeing LinkedIn posts of people landing jobs as a developer first. And then once I saw that possibility, I was like, hey, I want to do that too. Maybe I can do that. And to be honest, I didn't really want to be an admin that much. Developer was definitely my go-to choice. And I'm glad that it worked out, after all this time. So
Yeah, I love it. And it really, you put in a lot of all of the hard work, right? We helped facilitate. It's totally paying off. So congrats again. I hope to hear from you soon with all the cool stuff that you're doing, Eddie. So thanks so much. Glad to have you on here talking through your experiences, and hopefully we'll talk with you soon.
yep, sounds good.
All righty. Later.